Thank you for stopping by. Today, we will cover a biography from comedy and drama genre. The film in question is The Intouchables from 2011. The story begins late at night in Paris. Driss, Sai, is speeding in Philippe's, Clouzet's, Maserati Quattroporte. They are immediately pursued by the police, and when they are apprehended, Driss, unmoved, doubles his bet with Philippe, certain they will be escorted. To get away with his speeding, Driss argues that the quadriplegic Philippe needs to be rushed to the hospital. Philippe pretends to suffer a stroke, and the police officers eventually accompany them to the hospital. As the police leave them at the hospital, Philippe inquires as to what they will do next, to which Driss responds, "Now let me take care of it." As they drive away, the two men's story is then presented in flashback, which takes up practically the entire rest of the film. Philippe, a wealthy paraplegic who owns a palatial Parisian mansion, and his secretary Magali are interviewing potential live-in caregivers. Driss, an applicant, has no intention of being employed. He is only there to obtain a signature indicating that he was questioned and denied in order to continue receiving welfare payments. He is very casual and openly flirts with Magali. He is told to return the next morning to pick up his signed letter. Driss returns to the small flat he shares with his extended family in a desolate Parisian district. His aunt, who hasn't heard from him in 6 months, demands him to leave the flat. The next day, Driss arrives to Philippe's mansion and discovers, much to his astonishment, that he is on trial for the live-in carer position. He discovers the degree of Philippe's impairment and then follows him around at all times, discovering an entirely other way of living. Philippe's acquaintance reveals Driss's criminal history, which includes 6 months in jail for robbery. Philippe claims he is unconcerned about Driss's past because he is the only one who treats him as an equal rather than with pity or compassion. He promises not to terminate him as long as he accomplishes his current work well. Driss and Philippe become closer over time. Driss does his best to look after his employer, who frequently suffers from phantom pain. Philippe tells Driss that he became crippled after a paragliding accident and that his wife died childless. Driss gradually leads Philippe to impose some order in his private life, including being stricter with his adoptive daughter Elisa, who acts like a pampered child around the employees. Driss finds traditional and modern art, opera, and even takes up painting. Philippe's birthday is celebrated with a private concert of classical music in his living room. Driss, who is initially hesitant, is encouraged by Philippe to pay more attention to the music and opens up to Philippe's music. Driss then plays music that he liked for Philippe, Boogie Wonderland by Earth, Wind and Fire, which encourages everyone in the room to dance. Driss learns that Philippe has a solely epistolary connection with Eleanor, a woman from Dunkirk. Driss pushes him to meet her, but Philippe is concerned about her reaction when she learns of his impairment. Philippe is eventually persuaded to call Eleanor by Driss. Philippe agrees with Driss to give her a photo of himself in a wheelchair, but he hesitates and asks his assistant, Yvonne, to email him a photo of himself before the accident. Eleanor and Philippe have agreed on a date. Philippe is too terrified to see Eleanor at the last minute and leaves with Yvonne before Eleanor arrives. Philippe then phones Driss and offers him to join him for a paragliding weekend in his private jet. Philippe hands Driss an envelope containing 11,000 euros, the sum he was able to obtain for Driss artwork, which he sold to one of his acquaintances under the guise of being from an emerging artist. Adama, Driss's younger cousin, seeks refuge in Philippe's mansion after getting into difficulty with a gang. Driss tells Philippe about his family and his past as an orphan in Senegal who was adopted and brought to France by his then childless aunt and uncle. His adoptive parents eventually had children of their own, his uncle died, and his aunt had more children. Philippe acknowledges Driss's need to support his family and fires him, implying that he may not want to push a wheelchair all his life. Driss returns to his suburbs with his pals and is able to assist his younger cousin. He gets a position in a transportation company because of his new professional experience. Philippe has hired caregivers to replace Driss in the meanwhile, but he is dissatisfied with all of them. His morale is really poor, and he ceases to care about himself. Yvonne becomes concerned and phones Driss, who arrives and chooses to drive Philippe in the Maserati, returning the scenario to the film's opening scene, the police chase. Driss drives Philippe to the beach after they have evaded the cops. Philippe and Driss arrive at a Coburg restaurant with a beautiful ocean view after shaving and dressed elegantly. Driss abruptly departs the table and wishes Philippe luck on his lunch date. Philippe is perplexed, but Eleanor appears a few seconds later. Philippe is moved to tears when he glances out the window and sees Driss smiling at him. The film concludes with Driss saying goodbye to Philippe and walking away.